Welcome to Year 8 Statistics, Lesson 7, Digital Technologies and Representing Data. In this video, I'm going to show you two new things. The first thing is I'm going to show you how to use digital technologies to process statistical data. And secondly, I'm going to show you how to represent statistical data using something called a box and whisker plot. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to use a graphics calculator to process statistical data, telling you diagnostics such as mean, median, mode, and whatnot. And secondly, you should be able to construct and read box and whisker plots. Now consider in the previous lesson, we had a look at this data over here. So we had a look at calculating the statistical information from the raw data pertaining around the heights of 30 Year 8 students. Now, I'm going to show you in the first part of the lesson, not how to do this by hand, but rather how to do this on a graphics calculator. So these tools that become invaluable in the latter years of your high school life. So consider the data over here. We want to be able to calculate the mean, so X bar means mean, median, the minimum value in the data set, the maximum value, and then these two new things, Q1 and Q3. I'll explain what they mean in a second. Now, first thing we're going to do is, I'll clear all this out, and we can start from scratch. First thing I'm going to do is get my graphics calculator and turn it on. Then I press menu. After that, I'm going to press into stat, so I'm going to click 2. Now, I've got all of these lists in here. What this enables me to do is, it allows me to import all of the statistical data here into these lists, and then I'll be able to calculate the mean, the median, the min, the max, Q1 and Q3. So all I'm going to do is type in the numbers. Alright, all of my numbers are inputted. I can tell how many numbers I have simply by looking on the column on the far left here. It tells me that there are 30 data points inputted. I know this is correct because it tells me in the question there are 30 data points, so I know that I should be safe in the inputting for now. Now, next part is we want to calculate the statistical data here. So all you need to do is you press F2 on the calculator for calc. Then you press F1 for one var, meaning that, well, firstly, we're just going for list 1. So we go one var, and that's done. So it says one variable. Now, up the top here, it will tell me my mean is 174. The sum of all of these data points in here, it equals 5,220. Tells me that I have 30 data points inputted in here. And these statistics down here, they're important, but they're not important for now, so we'll leave those. Going down, the minimum value in our data set is equal to 165. Our Q1, which we don't know what it is yet, it's equal to 169. Our median, in this case, is 174. Our Q3 is 179. I'll explain that later. And our maximum value is 183. Furthermore, the mode, though, the most occurring number is 183 as well, so I didn't write that down here. Anyways, so what we've seen here is how to use our digital technology to calculate all the data automatically for us. So when you get to the later years in your schooling life, pretty much you'll be using digital technology to always do this for you. As in real life, when you're collecting statistical data, you'll probably use Excel or you'll use a graphics calculator. Typically Excel, you typically don't do statistics by hand, but it's still really important to know what the statistics means. So writing down the data that we've got, let's move that over the side so it doesn't disappear on me. So the mean was 174 and so was the median. The smallest value was 164. And the biggest value was 183. Now, the value for Q1. Now, all of that's out of the way. I'm going to show you how to do something called a box and whisker plot. So if I flip over to here, what we've got here is a very blurry image. but bear with me. We call this a box and whisker plot. So what this effectively allows us to do is visualize how the data or how the statistics of the data looks. So we've got minimum value, maximum value. Then inside this box here, we've got a Q1 and Q3 and a median. Now, where these graphs really shine is when we're having multiple of them on the one figure. So what you're able to do here is, you can see, is that you can make statistical comparisons among different data sets or different collections of data using these box and whisker plots. So you can measure the minimum, maximum values and how they stack up against one another, as well as the spread of data in the median or the center of the data itself. So what I'm going to show you is how to use one of these, or draw one of these on the data that we've got over here. Alright, drawing a box and whisker graph, what I'm going to start off with is I'm going to start off by ruling a straight number line. So the number line itself, it has to encapsulate the numbers 164 and 183 because these are going to be the min and max on our box and whisker plot. So I'm going to draw, I'll go roughly 40 grid lines across, maybe a little bit more. Alright, I went a little bit more just for good measure. And because it's a number line, I'll put the arrows on it. Now next step is I need to segment it up. So I'm going to go spaces of 2. And now just as a guide, I'm going to put down the bottom here the measurements. So we'll start off, the smallest measurement we need is 164. So I'll go down to 160, then 161, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turns out I just need a little bit more space. Alright, too easy. Now next step is I need to put in the min and the max values. So I'm simply going to grab my ruler and I'm going to look for the min. So that's at 164. So down here. And I'm simply going to draw a bar on top of it. Now next one is I'm going to look for the max, which is at 183. Next step is I'm going to look for my Q1 and Q2. So Q1 we said that's at 169 and Q3 is at 179. Alright, now I'm going to draw in some vertical or horizontal lines to link it all together. So down the center, I'll draw a line linking the min with the Q1 and I'll link the Q3. Then I'm going to close up the middle part to form the box. Easy does it. Now, final piece of information to throw in here is we have to indicate the median value. So the median itself, it is 174. So I simply find 174 and I draw a bar down the middle. Done. And what we've got here is a beautiful box and whisker graph, or plot, I should say. So I just need to label the rest of it. So the minimum is at 164. The maximum's at 183. This one over here, this was 169. This is 179. And the median, of course, was 174. Alright, so using this data here, or this graphic here, what we're able to do is easily digest the information presented to us up here. And similarly over here. So visual interpretation is always going to be easier to read because it just is that way. We're visual learners. Now, regarding Q1 and Q3, the question is, what do they mean? We'll firstly consider the median. So if the median is the middle part of the data, the Q1, or the lower quartile, is the middle part of the lower half of data. And similarly, the Q3, also known as the upper quartile, that's the middle data point of the upper half of data. So in summary, what we set out to look at in this lesson was, firstly, we wanted to look at how to use digital technologies. So how to use these guys to help us do statistics. Oops, wrong one. So using this table here, we can do statistics. And then secondly, we looked at how to represent our data using a box and whisker graph. So these sort of things. By now, you should be able to use your calculators, should you have one, to do to process statistical data, and you should be able to not only read but also construct these beautiful box and whisker plots.